create protocols for coding an exam in under 1 minute in Eyefinity EHR. So once you're logged into Eyefinity EHR, you can go up to Preferences and click on Manage Protocols. And I'm going to just go over some of my protocols here that I have set up already and some assumptions making this up to code an exam under 1 minute. So in the beginning of my protocol list here, you see I have quite a few. Each one of these is coded as a normal exam. And with this number here, each person obviously will have a cup to disk ratio. So the assumption here is I am doing a dilated exam, and this person is going to have a 0.0 CD ratio in the right and a 0.0 in the left. And the assumption is most patients that you see, their CDs are equal in each eye. In each CD ratio 0.0, 0.0, I have a dilated exam, and then I have a non-dilated exam. And I'll show you the difference between the two, which is one check mark in the funnest part of the exam. So in the exam, when you're using the exam, which will be a separate video, how to use the protocols to code an exam under 1 minute, I'll show you if you can quickly change the CD if they do have different CDs. But for most patients, they're equal. So this is why I'm going over the assumption that most patients have equal exams makes it very efficient to create protocols and to do an exam. So each protocol here, we have 0.1 CD, 0.2 CD, etc., down to 0.9. And after my full exam, so every person, almost every patient is going to be having one of these done, whatever their CD ratio. So it's going to be a complete exam, everything marked normal. And then after that, I have my refractive diagnoses listed here. Astigmatism, hyperopia. So these four, if they have any kind of refractive error, it's going to be in one of these categories. And another assumption I'm making is most patients, when they come in, you can set your status as whatever you would like in your protocol, whether it's stable, getting better, worsening. And I have these set for most people, it's going to be worsening. You can change that on the fly when you're doing the exam. And then the next category I have here is routine exam. Some insurances require an S code. So when I use this protocol, it's going to be an SO621 for established, and this is a SO620 for new. And the next here is refraction. If you need the 92015 code, add it for insurance purposes, and a contact lens evaluation, the 92310. So anybody who has a routine exam will be in this category. You'll select one of the protocols here. You select their refractive diagnosis. If you need an S code, you click this. If not, leave it go. You can just code 9200. And if you're doing a contact lens exam. So after this is where all the medical diagnoses start. And anything that you've seen, if you see it very often, create a protocol to do. So I'm going to go over how to create the protocols. And you can see here I have 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. So just say you can get as in depth as you want. I'm going to just show you how I created one of these protocols. I'm going to create a protocol with a 0.35 CD for a dilated patient. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to add a protocol, and I'm going to say I'm going to do a 0.35 dilated exam. Under gender, you have to pick something. You can just leave it as female, it doesn't matter. And you have to choose a domain, subdomain, optometry. Would you like to share this protocol? I'm going to click yes, since there's other providers in the practice and they like to use the protocols. So I'm going to hit save. And all this is, I'm just going to perform an exam. Everything is going to be marked as normal. I'm going to hit perform exam, and I'm going to click eye exam. You could also go in this section here and do full exam dilated. I'm just going to go in here, under eye exam, click that. I'm going to leave everything marked as normal. Dilated is turned on. And I said under discs that this is going to be a 0.35 CD in each eye. And because most patients have equal CDs, there's a copy button here, puts it over here. And everything else you can just leave as normal. And this is a dilated exam, so I'm going to keep these checked here. I'm going to hit done exam, and I'm going to save the protocol. So to understand the magic of Eyefinity EHR, when we do an exam, everything is going to be marked as normal here with the 0.35 exam, and we can go back in here, manage, and you can see this is what's going to be in the chart. Everything's marked normal. The brilliance and the magic of Eyefinity EHR is we're going to click this first. Everything's going to be marked as normal. And if you have an abnormal finding, just say they have a cataract, these under lens where it has clear here, if we're going to select something later, like a cataract, it's going to come in here and automatically remove the normal finding under lens and insert the abnormal finding automatically. If you use other EHR programs, you would know most likely you would have to go in there and manually remove that normal finding yourself and then manually add in the abnormal finding yourself. So that is creating just a CD full exam protocol. And I'm going to I have a whole list of medical diagnoses, and I'll go through creating one of those. So another assumption is for certain medical diagnoses, a lot of times they're either monocular, which means it happens only in one eye, right eye or left eye. And some diagnoses, it's almost always in both eyes, bilateral. So if you look here at asteroid hyalosis, right eye, asteroid hyalosis is almost always in one eye. So I have an asteroid hyalosis in the right, in the left. You could create another one for OU. It's very rare. But when I have an asteroid hyalosis, our clinical protocol, if we have that, most times we'll go take a fundus photo. So if it's a medical exam, we find asteroid, we'll take a photo. So we have the medical diagnosis with photos, everything documented there. So that's a monocular finding usually. If we go down here for blepharitis is almost always bilateral. It can be unilateral, but most times it's bilateral. So I have blepharitis in both eyes here. And whatever your normal protocol is, sometimes blepharitis will just do lid scrubs, or sometimes we'll add erythromycin ointment. So with one click of a button, we have everything documented, counseling, and a prescription for erythromycin ointment already written, just with a click of a button. And down, these are some of the protocols that I use. Choroidal nevus, if we find one, it's almost always monocular. So if an OD, OS, if it's new, if they come back, it's usually stable. If it's not stable, then instead of a choroidal nevus, then we're going to be most likely going to melanoma. Just other diagnoses, you can see my list here. Diabetes with, without complications. And in the other video, using protocols, I'll go over some of these, like diabetes with complications on the fly, how to quickly change from a mild complication to a moderate or severe. These are different ones that we usually see. Epiretinal membrane, usually one eye, sometimes both. So we just added this in. Yeah, our glaucoma patients, sometimes we'll just have them come back for 1 month. Whatever you use very frequently, this is the whole idea of a protocol. And we'll go down and show you page 2. Ocular hypertension. If we've seen them before, the pressures were high. When they come back, we're almost always going to do a optic nerve imaging, OCT or visual field, OCT or photos along with a visual field. And we always do a threshold. So we have these set up with one click of a button. We have everything documented for photos, visual field, and ocular hypertension. Dilated versus non-dilated exam. The only difference here, if we go to the non-dilated exam, under the exam section in the fundus, you will see the check mark for the examination through a dilated pupil has not been selected, whereas the dilated exam, this has been selected. So that's the only difference between the two. The rest, everything else is marked normal. For contact lens protocols, if you're using more than one contact lens fitting, we use one in our office, but you can go in here and set multiple levels, different fees. Say you have level one, $100, level two, $200, three, etc. You can go in here and you can create contact lens level one, level two, whatever your protocols are, how many protocols you want for contact lenses. And to do that, when you're in here under the contact lens, the plan here, I'm going to show you when you're setting up your plan. There's contact lens fitting fee. Whatever you put back in your first made them, it's going to be sticky, but that doesn't really matter here. Your charges are actually set up in your practice management system, whether it's Eyefinity Practice Management or OfficeMate. You can go down here and it actually gives you 15 different levels. So you can actually have 15 different levels. Here you can choose level one, you put in $100, level two, etc. When you're setting up your contact lens protocols. Protocol you may want to consider for your office is a patient last time had a high pressures, diabetic, macular degeneration, and they got new insurance. They didn't. They only want to use the refractive portion. They don't want to do any diagnostic or any medical testing. They actually use a code for refused exam. Just we go into manage, and I'll show you that code here. And under here, we just have an anterior segment exam done, and under the plan counseling for noncompliance, you can put in here all the legal stuff that you want to add in here, and with one click of a button, your exam's documented that the patient refused, which they have the right to do, but you also would like to document the record. So there actually is a code for that, and I can show you. Just add that real quick. I'll show you what that code is if you're interested in adding that one. And we're going to search for a diagnosis code. It is Z 53.20. Procedure stream not count. And there's that. And you do counseling, set whatever your sticky fields are here, blah, 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 your medical legal stuff. And you would hit save protocol then. And that's the diagnosis code for that.